For today's edition of Beneath the Sheets, I'd like to talk about the way that Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte has actually directly affected pop culture, specifically through Buffy the Vampire Slayer by one of Joss Whedon's amazing creations. So without further ado, let's get right to it. So Joss Whedon himself has kind of alluded to that fact that Jane Eyre has influenced him in an article that he did for AV Club. In an interview he did for AV Club. He basically, explained, how the writing process works for that show. And like said, quote, if we take this moment from Nosferatu and this moment from Pretty in Pink, that'll make this possible. A little Jane Eyre in there and a little Lethal Weapon 4. Not 3, but 4. And I think this'll work. End quote. And that's one of the geniuses of pop culture, is that we do take all of these influences from, that should not work together, and they work in a very, unique way that really makes the entertainment industry look back on itself and say, how the hell did that happen? So here's a cover of Jane Eyre, sweet, innocent, unassuming. And then there's the cover of Jane Slayer, and it's kind of sultry, seductive, and awkward, and it's like, wow, they took Charlotte Bronte and made her amazing. And then there's Michael Humphrey, who in his article for Forbes magazine wrote, quote, "Think of the young female characters in Winter's Bone and True Grit, and even the latest version of Jane Eyre. Those young women are not just nice or virtuous, they are badasses. They are smart, and they are especially not silly. If they had a recent predecessor, it would be Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who remained all woman while kicking the lights out of vampires and monsters." Okay, first of all, Jane Eyre came before Buffy, bitch. So, there's some obvious similarities between Jane and Buffy. Jane's nice and plain, and Buffy's also, kind of plain, too. But they kind of both fall for the same silly people, Rochester and St. John, and Angel and Spike. Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing. So, knock the focus feature, film poster all you want, but it compares nothing to the one that was from the 50s. Seriously, what the hell is going on here with Jane? One of the things that I really love about Jane Eyre is that she kind of pushes the feminist movement to a next level, and I think that it paved the way for future artists, writers, or filmmakers, or TV show, producers to come up with a way that women can be, empowered to be women and not have to, have a man to fulfill themselves. In Jane Eyre, she's got basically two interests. She's got, the option to be with Mr. Rochester or with her cousin, St. John Rivers. Ew. And so, when those are your options, it's kind of obvious she should hopefully choose Rochester, even though he's kind of douchey. At the same time, he's not all bad. He left his wife in an attic for years, but, whatever, she killed herself, so it's fine now. But you've got the situation where Jane puts herself into a situation where she does not need Mr. Rochester in order to fulfill herself, because she's inherited basically enough money to take care of herself for the rest of her life. But she chooses to marry Mr. Rochester because she actually loves him. And the movie is kind of a little awkward because, or at least the 2011 movie, it's a little awkward because she plays it off so cool. The character of Rochester, it just comes off as a selfish ass. And then, the character in the book is also a selfish ass, but Michael Fassbender just really plays it off as this cool, heartless son of a bitch. And it makes you wonder, is Jane really better off with him, or would she be better off with just her money?
This spring I came home, heart sore and soul withered. And I met a gentle stranger whose society revives me. With her I feel I could live again, in a higher, purer way. Tell me, am I justified in overleaping an obstacle of custom to attain her?
There is an obstacle.
A mere conventional impediment.
But what can it be? If you cherish an affection, sir, then fortune alone cannot impede you.
Yes.
And if the lady is of noble stock and has indicated that she may reciprocate?
Jane, of whom do you think I speak?
Of Miss Ingram.
I'm asking what Jane Eyre would do to secure my happiness.
I would do anything for you, sir. Anything that was right.
You transfix me quite. I feel I can speak to you now of my lovely one. If you've met her and you know her, she's a rare one, isn't she? Fresh and healthy, without soil or taint. I'm sure she'll regenerate me with a vengeance.
I mean, not that, St. John is that much better of an option either, but, I mean, at least, like, there's a scene in the movie where she, the one in the book where she's doing, drawing basically a picture of him, and, he just has this masturbatory moment of, oh, hey, you like that, don't you? And it's so creepy. I mean, I love Jamie Bell. I mean, don't get me wrong. Billy Elliot, awesome. But him playing St. John just seems a little weird. And I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that or not, but judge for yourself.
Jane? Have you something for me to do?
You're doing something already. May I see? Oh, these are wonderful. St. John?
No, Mary, please.
See how skilled Jane is.
Is this how you perceive me, Miss Elliot? Wow. How fierce I am.
So, Buffy Summers also has two options, ironically. Also a, blonde guy and a brunette guy. Weird. Just like in Jane Eyre. And so, But the difference is between Rochester and Angel and between St. John and Spike is that, Rochester and St. John are human beings. Spike and Angel are vampires. They are monsters. And yet, for as human as Rochester and St. John are supposed to be, they're so inhuman in the way that they act. And the way that they show their emotions, and the way that they are supposed to basically be showing how much they love Jane. Whereas both Angel and Spike, like, even in the moment that they're about to die, are just so incredibly emotional and loving and caring, and are just like, how is it possible that the monsters are better than the people? And I think that, especially when Buffy has to kill Angel, they're in the end of season 2, and it's a very powerful moment because she knows what she has to do, and yet you see that tiny glimpse of, maybe I don't have to do this, and I can just let the entire world die.
Buffy. What's going on? Where are we? I don't remember.
Angel.
You're hurt. Oh, Buffy. God. I feel like I haven't seen you in months. Everything's so muddled. Oh. Buffy. What's happening?
Don't worry about it.
I love you.
Close your eyes.
Winter is cold.
And then for Spike, she kind of does this thing where, you know, she knows that you really care for this you know, person who's been such a huge part of her life, even though he's kind of a dick, and he knows that he's a dick. But she loves him. She may not be in love with him, but she loves him. And there's a moment, like at the very end of the series, where basically Spike sacrifices himself. That you see that, and I mean, I can only imagine that, you know, this is taken that feminist level of, you know, that feminine power of basically turning her into the male character, where it's just they can just so easily say that they love a girl just to get laid, and whereas Buffy kind of does the same thing towards Spike, except she knows that she's not going to get laid because he's about to blow up. Here.
Oh, bollocks. Buffy!
Everybody out now!
Feel it, Buffy.
Wait.
My soul. It's really there. Kind of stings. Go on then.
No, you've done enough. You could still...
No, you've beat them back. It's for me to do the cleanup.
Buffy, come on!
Gotta move, Lamb. I think it's fair to say school's out for bloody summer.
Spike!
I mean it. I gotta do this.
I love you.
No, you don't. But thanks for saying it. Now go! I want to see how it ends.
So, like when Jane tells Mr. Rochester, "I am not an angel, and I will not be one till I die. I will be myself." It's kind of ironic, then, that in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Buffy's basically her first real boyfriend, who she sleeps with, is Angel, and after they have sex, he goes evil because his soul decides it's gone, which, you know, he's like the only vampire who's ever had a soul, so it makes it even weirder that, you know, basically being in love and having a one perfect moment would destroy his soul. But it does. But, you know, it actually kind of reminds me of basically how Mr. Rochester kind of changes when Jane first gives in, before she finds out about Birth in the Attic, to marry him, and how he kind of just becomes like, you know, this domineering, like, you know, man better, woman little thing going on that he does, and tries to like diminish Jane's power, that she's basically the same thing that drew him to her in the first place is what he's trying to dominate now. He does not want that to happen because he wants the idea of her. And so, I mean, and then in this scene in that I'm going to show next, it's going to have it kind of portrays that as a little more awkward.
Angel.
Hey.
Oh my God. I was so worried.
I didn't mean to frighten you.
Where did you go?
Been around?
Oh my God. I was freaking out. You just disappeared.
What? I took off.
But you didn't say anything. You just left.
Yeah. Like I really wanted to stick around after that.
What?
You got a lot to learn about men, kiddo.
I know for me, one of the most, I mean, like, amazing parts of Jane Eyre is when she just, like, tells Mr. Rochester, "I will not be your English Céline Varens." When he starts telling her how to dress, and, you know, it's just like, really? But what I love about it is that she's basically just affirming that she's not going to fall victim to the Madonna whore complex, you know, where you're either a saint or a prostitute. I mean, those are your two options if you're a woman. You can't be anything in between. You can't be just a woman. You cannot have, you know, you can't be powerful, and you can't, you know, have the, you know, strength. You can't have ideas of your own, and you can't basically be a human being if you're a woman. You either have to be Madonna or a whore. Thank you for watching this episode of Beneath the Sheets. Tune in next time. We'll be talking about Emily Dickinson's clitoris. Bye-bye.